What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Cheese Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Today, I'm joined by Zach, six-time grilled cheese champion. And yes, he resides in Wisconsin, of course, because all of us Wisconsinites love our cheese, right?
Absolutely.
So, what could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your grilled cheese contest that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Zach Washa. I reside in a little village called Highland in the southwest corner, about a half an hour north of Platteville. I've lived in Wisconsin for 15 years now, but we moved into my grandparents' house, so I'm really familiar with Wisconsin. Grew up coming up here and visiting my grandparents when I was a little kid, and we bought my grandparents' house after they passed. And I love Wisconsin. I love everything that Wisconsin has to offer, including the cheese and the beer.
What's your favorite kind of cheese?
Uh, Smoked Gouda, actually.
Smoked Gouda.
Really big into a smoked Gouda. Yeah.
That's awesome. They got some. There's a cheese shop, ironically, like I don't know, 2 minutes from my house. That I it's my go-to. I call it my dealer. That has smoked Gouda curds.
Oh,
So
so
yeah,
good.
and my
So
favorite
good.
cheese personally is ghost pepper, like Monterey Jack ghost pepper. And it's a cheese shop called Scray's Cheese, and
Okay.
then Maplewood Meats, which is if you're coming from Green Bay and heading to Wausau on 29, just a little bit outside of, a little bit west of Green Bay. It's Maplewood Meats, and they have a Carolina Reaper cheddar that's super good. So
hmm Yeah, I've had that one actually. Was messing around with that for a grilled cheese, and I was like, I don't know if the judges will be into that. It's a little spicy. It's good. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
Personally, I'd pick it out and put it on a grilled cheese, but not for judging, not for competition. No, not a chance.
So what all goes on at these contests? How do you get entered? Like, what's the parameters of getting involved with this?
All right, so it's the 12th grilled cheese championship in Wisconsin is happening on April 26th. So just in a couple of weeks now. And you can either sign up online. You go to grilled cheese Wisconsin or grilledcheesewi.com. If you just like Google Wisconsin grilled cheese championships, it's the first thing that pops up. You can compete. It's, you pay a little bit of money to compete, and then you can win prizes. My wife got me into it a couple years ago. She got an email from the Dodgeville Chamber of Commerce, and she goes, "Hey, you should get into it." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So yeah, it's fun. There's a bunch of different categories you can do. You can either compete as a professional or an amateur. I compete as a professional because I've won 6 times. You can see a couple of those trophies right up there. That's just last year's haul. That's it. That's from last year alone.
Was that three up
There's
there?
four of them up. There's four
Four.
of them. There's a first, 2 seconds, and a third up there.
Okay.
So yeah,
So when you walk into the place, everyone just goes quiet, right?
little bit. Yeah, there's kind of like a hush, like, oh, that guy's been on TV. That guy's been, on the radio. He's been everywhere. So I just love helping out. Love talking about it, getting a lot of people involved. So yeah,
What's
it's
your
exciting.
favorite kind of cheese to put on a grilled cheese sandwich?
Oh man, there's so many. Actually, I'm a big Gruyere fan. Love
Okay.
Gruyere, melted Gruyere with some like pepper jam, like jalapeno jam. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got that working up this year actually. And then I got a from Car Valley. There's a cheese called crema casa. It's like a it's not quite as soft as like a brie or a camembert, but it's a soft, really melty cheese. I get mine smoked, and I've won with that cheese before, and that is like the best cheese to use because it melts really well. Like you don't
Man,
even need high heat.
I gotta step my game up. I got well, my wife and I we have 5 kids, and this last week I'm just trying to think of what to make for dinner, and just I got a loaf of bread and a bunch of sliced cheese, just regular cheddar or whatever, sharp cheddar cheese, and
Hey, nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, you can do some really cool stuff with some cheddar, a little bit of dried tomatoes, or a little bit of chopped basil, something, kind of give it that little push over the cliff, man. Crank it up
yeah.
to 11. It's fantastic.
I found you try to make it make dinner for a large family, kind of like efficient. So I'm like, just kind of looking on Google and whatever, and so I get my regular baking pan, and I get out the loaf of bread, the artisan
Oh
bread,
yeah,
and
right on.
I butter one side, put the buttered side down, two slices of cheese, same thing, butter
Yep.
facing up on top. I think I made 8 grilled cheese at the same time in the oven. It's like crazy.
Right. Hey, I've done it too. I got 6 kids myself, and but it's kind of weird because every one of my kids has a different taste. So I know my oldest son, he's actually competing. He's competed a couple of times before in the young chefs category, but this is his last year. He's 17, and he's doing a Cuban. So
Ooh, man.
yeah, yeah, with smoked Swiss. Oh man, I if he doesn't win, I'll be I'll be kind of upset because we came up with this a couple years back, and we've been tweaking it little perfections. So we're trying really hard to get him something. He finished second his first year competing and third last year. We want to get him that win. We want to get him that trophy to bring home.
Sure. What do you add any other ingredients to your sandwiches?
Yeah, so not only is there an amateur and a professional, but there's 4 subcategories. There's a So I compete 4 different times on the 26th. So there's the classic, which is your bread butter cheese, just basic grilled cheese sandwich. And there's the classic plus one. You can add one extra ingredient, but you have to make sure that you have more cheese than other ingredient. There's the plus extras, which is basically anything goes as long as you have more cheese than internal ingredients. And then there's the dessert, which is a sweet sandwich versus a savory sandwich, and anything goes in that category as well. So the one that's eluded me, I finished second last year in the plus extras. That's the only category I've never won. Um, this year I'm doing a smoked cheddar, smoked pepper jack, smoked brisket, and pickles on a sourdough.
Smoked brisket, man. I'm gonna go upstairs
But
and
not
raid my
like slices
refrigerator.
of brisket, not slices. I'm gonna chop up the brisket nice and fine, mix it in. I shred my cheese in grilled cheese sandwiches too. So that's another great tip. When you shred the cheese, it actually melts a little bit better than like a thick slice. So you definitely want to try that if you haven't before, Brian.
Yeah, that way you have even melt all the way across your sandwich.
Exactly, exactly. Especially
What?
when you get into those Alpine cheeses, those harder, like a firm cheese, like a Swiss or a Gruyere, you definitely want to shred. You don't want to leave like a thick slice, because otherwise it doesn't melt through all the way.
It's like you have nice warm cheese, and next thing you know, you come to like a colder piece of cheese. It
Yeah,
ruins the
or
whole.
not cooked at all.
It ruins the whole nostalgia, right?
That's right. That's right.
What in your eyes? What's the best type of bread to use in a grilled cheese sandwich?
So anything that's like firm, anything that's kind of dense, like Italian bread's good, French bread's good, sourdough is fantastic. Last year I won with a tomato basil cheddar on a marble rye, so a rye pumpernickel swirl bread. Fantastic. Just like everybody sees it and they're like, "Oh man, that swirl bread looks good." Like
Yeah,
it just looks like a pretty sandwich. So, and that's part of it. It's not just the taste of the sandwich, it's also visual. Like you want to make sure that the judges want to eat it.
right. Um, Now you say you're in Southwest Wisconsin.
Yeah.
What's your favorite go-to cheese factory to go to, or cheese shop?
So I got a couple not too far. I got Car Valley. They have a couple different locations, obviously Mauston, but I don't go to the Mauston one. I go to Mazomanie or Fenimore. Those the Fenimore's about 22 minutes from me. Meso's 45 minutes from me. So I'll go to either one of those, or Arena Cheese, which isn't far from Mazomanie either, up in Arena, Wisconsin. The tomato basil cheddar that I used last year came from Arena. It was a fantastic cheese. It was great. It was so good.
Yeah, I'm kind of spoiled here because, like I said, I got that one so close to my house. And I
Right,
think like
right.
5 or 6 days a week they make fresh curds. So
Oh, that's
they
fantastic.
have like
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm originally from Oregon, Wisconsin, which is kind of close to
Yeah,
you
I
in
know
a
where it
way.
is. Yeah.
But there's the last few times my parents, I still got family down there, and one time I was down there last year, they're like, "Oh yeah, there used to be like an old implement place on Highway 138 between Oregon and Stoughton, and
Hmm.
like behind there were these big buildings that I never knew. They have one of them is like a big cheese store." So I walked in there, and they have a huge selection of cheese. And but
Nice.
yeah, my go to place is right here in up in the Green Bay area. So
Right
it's
on.
just it's a small like you'll be driving out in the country. I mean, not like you're driving that long out of the country, but all of a sudden, boom, it pops up a little little cheese shop.
Absolutely. And I'm not too far from Mineral Point, and I mean everybody knows Mineral Point, Hook's Cheese. They have some of the best curds and they have some of the best cheddar around. I love their aged cheddar. It's like a 5 year cheddar is great. 7 is fantastic. So love Hook's Cheese. And down in Cuba City, we have Guile cheese, and I got a black pepper white cheddar cheese from there a couple years back, and that was something special. That was really good.
Yeah,
Pair that with bacon, so you get that peppery from the cheese and the salty from the bacon, and it is a fantastic bite.
yeah. With the ghost, my favorite, the ghost pepper cheese. I mean, it has a bite, but it's something you can get used to. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep.
And everyone's like, "Oh, I can't," but there's people that I'm like, just take a thin slice and put it on your burger before you pull the burger off. Cover the burger, let it melt.
Yep.
Get that. It's so good. It's
Absolutely. Yeah. It's some people can't tolerate the heat. My wife is one of them. My youngest daughter is one of them. She's 13. She can't handle when it comes to spice. No, she doesn't like when I do those spicy, even like a regular pepper jack. She doesn't like. She thinks it's too spicy. She gets
yeah.
that from the wife. My wife doesn't like
I'm the one that'll be sitting there suffering, not suffering, but like you got that like the tingle in your mouth and the kind of
it.
the small
Right?
burn, and it's something that just grows on you. You get used to it.
No, absolutely. I had, like I said, I made a brisket one with the with the Carolina Reaper cheddar, and it was, like I said, it was hot. And after I was done, I still had beads of sweat. I'm like, oh, this had something extra. This isn't just a regular pepper jack or a
Yeah,
pepper cheddar. I mean, it's got some oomph.
yeah. I think it's so cool that you know going like you walk into a cheese store that you're not familiar with, even one that you are familiar with. You always it's like you're trying to find something you haven't tried yet, something that sounds like it.
Right.
It might be good, it might not be good, but 99% of the time you can't go wrong with cheese. You know.
No, no, there's very few. I mean, you get into the Brick or the Limburgers, those stinky cheeses. They're a little bit tougher to deal with, especially in competition. Um, so yeah, and like I said, the spice, like the really spicy, the Carolina Reaper, the Ghost Chili, anything that's above a pepper jack is a little too much for a lot of judges.
Right. I know for me, even if I haven't had, which isn't too often, but if I haven't had something hot in a day or two or a few days, and I have like a piece of ghost pepper cheese or like a jalapeno, like a hot jalapeno or hot sauce, I'll get hiccups
Yep.
for a little bit just because I'm not used to the burn.
Oh, that's the worst.
You bring up Limburger cheese. It reminds me of a story years ago when I worked down in the Madison area. Um, One of the guys that I worked with brought in a thing of Limburger cheese.
Oof.
And oh man, that's one thing I'll never mess around. I mean, I tried it, and then he brought in like saltine crackers or something like that to go with it. He's like, yeah,
Sure.
I forgot who it was. He's like, yeah, but I think like my uncle or my grandpa always put the thing of Limburger cheese on the windowsill in the kitchen, let the sun hit it, so it got nice and warm. I'm saying that had to smell like pretty bad, man.
Little
And
funk, like a dirty sock. Yeah.
next thing you know, like we're sitting there just eating, like you go by a bad accident, you can't stop but look at it, right? Well, we can't stop, eating this crap, right? So we had a coworker that had on break, he put his shoes on and took off his work boots, and we went and we put like a little tear with a wrapper in his work boots, and then we put like a little smudge on my boss's office handle, and he walks into his office and he comes back out. Like, God damn it, you guys! But I mean, there's probably not a cheese I would not try. It's
No, I mean, yeah. There's very few I would try. A couple years back, they had the World Cheese Competition in Madison, and I went for one day just to walk around and see what was going on, and I'm like half tempted to walk out with like an 80-pound wheel of Gruyere. It's just like
that's the thing. Like the cheese shop that I go to, I head that way, but my daughter, my second grader that I pick up, her school is right on the way, so I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just leave a couple minutes early and go to the cheese store and go back and pick
right?
her up. But yeah, they
Yeah.
know me on a first name basis there, and I don't know if that's good or bad.
The Car Valley up in Mesa was like that. I had 2 or 3 employees that, I mean, they had been there for a really long time, and they've since moved on to other careers. But yeah, I'd walk in and they're like, "All right, what kind of grilled cheese are you playing with this week?" And I was in there a lot, like a lot, up at the Mesa one. But I've been spending a little bit more time in Fenimore recently because it's a whole heck of a lot closer. And they make the curds fresh in that factory, which is fantastic.
Yeah, like this one that I go to, you can walk in, you can see the door, and they have the great big like aluminum or metal tubs that they sit there, all the
Mhm.
cheeses
Oh yeah,
going around, and yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
no.
So you're a Packers fan, Bucks fan.
Yep. Yes, I am. Packers, Bucks. I'm a
I see
Twins
you're a Twins
fan.
fan, right? You're a
Twins
Twins
fan. Yeah,
fan.
that's the one that kind of throws the monkey wrench into everything. But I'll still root for the Brewers. I go to Brewers games every so often. I love watching the Brewers too because I can't watch Twins games here without the MLB TV app. I'm not paying like $200 or whatever it is for that for 6 months. It's a
Isn't
little,
that crazy?
yeah, it's nuts.
Now, did you move from like Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota?
Pennsylvania, actually.
What?
So, all right.
Amish paradise.
Yeah, right. No, I used to live in Pittsburgh. My wife's from Pittsburgh. That's where we met. I actually grew up just outside of Chicago, in a city called Joliet. Everybody knows
Yep.
Joliet from the prisons and obviously the Blues Brothers. But grew up in Joliet. Spent 14 years of my life there. My dad got transferred to Pittsburgh because he worked for U.S. Steel. So we moved from Chicago to Pittsburgh when he got transferred to corporate, and I went to couple 3 years of high school, and ended up meeting my wife in Pittsburgh, and that's where we got married. And then when the opportunity came up after my grandparents died, we bought their house off my dad and his brothers, and we moved back to Wisconsin. So
That's crazy. I
yeah,
always, I have a lot of family on my Rego side that are down in like the Downers Grove, like
oh yeah,
Chicago area,
yep,
down in Chicago.
sure.
I was always told that I have second cousins that or that at one point ran the Rego Brothers Funeral Homes in Chicago.
Okay, sure,
There's one in Baraboo, I think that's some type of relation, but my parents divorced when I was like, I don't know, 5, 6. So
okay,
the Rego side, I haven't talked to my dad since. But so like the Rego, but I did, oddly enough, my wife did get me years ago at Ancestry.com, like a year membership. And I kind of went in there and I was kind of poking around and I saw like whatever. And I asked a question about, the Regos or whatever. And someone was like, "Oh, is so and so your grandpa?" And somehow it came about, "Oh, you're the part of the family that we've been missing and that we didn't know that we
oh
knew
no
about you, but
way,
we never contacted
ah,
because my dad was a prick and
sure,
he
okay,
pretty much like wrote off his whole family. I mean, it's just anyways. But I ended up not hooking up with them. I ended up like meeting up with them or online and everything on Facebook, and I have cousins down there, cousins in Florida. So it's kind of cool to.
sure,
I've always been attached. Like I've always has something I've always admired, the Chicago skyline. I've always loved the Chicago
Sure.
skyline at night when that's all
Sure.
lit up, and all that fun stuff. But I love myself some deep dish pizza, Chicago style.
See, I'm a tavern style guy. I like the really paper thin crust. That's more my
Pizza's pizza.
style.
I mean, I'll eat any type of pizza, but like my favorite, like if I was gonna like indulge, would be like the deep dish. But I like tavern style. I like yeah. We were down in Schaumburg a few years ago around Easter time, and we ended up getting Giordano's deep dish.
Oh yeah,
Oh
you can't go
my
wrong with
god, the thing weighs like 40 pounds.
that. Right? Yeah.
But
We found a so I went my daughter plays a band concert up in Stevens Point every year. She's in high school, but she plays at the university once a year. And we always go to Bill's Pizza in Stevens Point, which is I think it's fantastic pizza. But it's the Chicago tavern style. We went there the first year and I took a bite and we went with my parents and I looked at my dad and I go, this reminds me of Maury's. There's a joint in Joliet called Maury's Table. And I took a bite out of it and I'm like, this reminds me of Maury's. And my dad was like nodding along. He's like, yeah, it does. Like it's exactly like Maury's. So that Chicago tavern style is that's a hit in our family.
yeah, you can't go wrong. I mean, you really can't go wrong with pizza unless you absolutely just destroy it.
Well,
Um,
I mean, there's a saying about pizza and sex, right? You can't have bad of either.
yeah, right. There's actually where I'm from, Oregon. There's like everyone in the area. We just loved there's a place called Maria's Pizza.
Maria's Pizza. Yes, I know
Yeah,
exactly where that is.
and I always liked Pizza Pit too. There in
Yeah,
Oregon.
Pizza Pit's all right. I haven't had a Pizza Pit pizza in forever.
Right, I
That's
keep on seeing their posts on Facebook. I'm like, man, you gotta get a place up in Green Bay. This is getting this kind of. I want to follow you, but you guys need to move closer.
right, right.
Um,
Exactly.
speak on the Packers. What are your thoughts on like the transition from Rodgers to Love, and then from 2 years ago to last year to where we're at now? Like, what are your thoughts on what direction the team is heading?
I think the Packers have made some really good decisions, and the one decision I wish they would make is getting a true number one receiver. I understand, Christian Watson is kind of that guy in that role, but he's out till like November, right? Like, so they don't really have a true number one. I mean, Jaden Reed's fine, but he's not your number one receiver. Dontavian Wicks is all right. I think he has a really high ceiling, but the concussion thing is not, that doesn't help him at all. That's the one area I wish the Packers would have addressed in free agency would be wide receiver. But other than that, um, I think the transition from Rodgers to Love was really successful. I remember when the transition from Favre to Rodgers back in 2008, it didn't go smooth at all. I think Rodgers and the Packers were 4-12 that year, or 5-11. It was bad. Like it was
Right.
really bad. But then the following year they made the playoffs and they lost to the Cardinals in that, what was it, 53-47 in overtime, and there was a missed face mask call.
Yeah.
But and then the next year they won the Super Bowl. That was Rodgers' third year, right?
Yep.
So this is Love's third year, and now we're kind of like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe this is what's going to happen. I think the Packers have done some really good things trying to protect Love. The moves that they made this offseason, moving Jenkins to center, I think that's going to be huge. I mean, he's filling a massive hole that we had at center. So I think that's good. And the guy that they picked up from San Fran, I think it's going to be a huge on the left side of the line.
He's like what 6'5", 6'6",
Yes, like 6'5",
300, and yeah,
320, something like that. I mean, he's a big dude, big bulldozer, and that's going to help in the run game too. That's though you talk to those offensive linemen, they love run blocking.
yeah.
So I think that's going to be a huge thing for the Packers this year.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, this like the transition. Everyone's like just at ends. Just all upset about it. It's like you got to realize it. Think of where we'd be right now if we would have kept Aaron Rodgers and we would have let Love walk. We'd be like the Cleveland Browns right now.
Oh, we'd be like the Raiders. I think we'd be like the Raiders.
Uh,
It's I don't think if we had Aaron Rodgers for the last two seasons, I think we'd be in the predicament that the Raiders are in right now. Just kind of uncertain, going through head coaches. I don't think LaFleur would have been able to stick around. I really
we'd
don't.
be we'd be paying overpriced for a quarterback that we thought was good and get nothing out of him.
Yeah,
You know,
and it's wild, like how you see nobody is even wanting to touch Aaron Rodgers right now. I mean, you're talking about a quarterback that's going to be 41 in December. It's I think he's past his prime, and I mean, yeah, he did okay with the Jets last year. The Jets are an absolute dumpster fire, but it's I no there's no market for a 41-year-old quarterback right now.
yeah. The last I heard is that he like a couple weeks ago, or last week, whatever it was, he had a meeting with the Steelers for like 6 hours, and then that's the last.
And that's yeah, that nothing has happened since. And I don't know. I guess he was tossing to DK Metcalf the other day or a week
Yep.
ago or something like that. And I mean, there's still been nothing on that front. So who knows what's going to happen? I mean, the Steelers are like, oh, we're moving along with Mason Rudolph, and I'm not entirely sure they want to stick around with they want to stick with Mason Rudolph next year.
They should
But
have
I
just
mean,
kept Justin Fields.
right now that's their only option unless they plan on signing Rodgers. And my guess is Rodgers wants too much money compared to what the Steelers are willing to offer him.
Right. It's like, what are you going to do? Pay him all this money to get below average results?
I mean, when you look at his stats from
I
last
mean,
year, I
average,
mean,
I guess.
he had. I mean, I think he was like 11th in quarterback rating and yards. So I mean, he didn't do so bad, but his performance did definitely tick up once the Jets acquired Devontae Adams. I mean, you could definitely see there's like a demarcation point when Rodgers got Adams. That offense started to move a whole heck of a lot better. Unfortunately, their defense couldn't stop anybody either. So they had a lot of problems, and the head coach was an issue. And Rodgers is kind of I don't know if Rodgers is a coach killer. He got McCarthy fired. He got Saleh fired. I think this late in his career, he's kind of a coach killer, and it's unfortunate because I like the guy. I
Yeah.
I've always liked Rodgers. I've kind of liked his personality. He's smart, but he's not like trying to like shove it in your face. I know a lot of people, were really upset with him about the whole COVID thing. We won't even get into that, but like he's a smart dude. He beat an astronaut on Celebrity Jeopardy. He beat a guy from Shark Tank, supposed to be like smart guys. And he beat them
Yeah.
at Jeopardy and he beat them handily too. So he's a bright dude. I just there's been some decision that he's made that haven't been so great for him, but he's a great quarterback and he's always going to be, he's our Super Bowl champion. He's the last guy that won a Super Bowl for us in Green Bay, so can't can't hate him, right?
I
I still
can't
love
hate him.
Favre
Yeah.
too.
Just, yeah. I definitely can't hate him. And like you said, everyone felt the same about Brett Favre when he went to the Jets and went to the Vikings. I'm just glad that Aaron's not going to go to the Vikings, hopefully. You know,
I don't think he will. It's the Vikings don't want it. They don't want to pay the money, and it's because they'd only get him. They don't. I think they'd only want to sign him for 1 year because they have JJ McCarthy. What you can't. I mean, I guess they could have him sit for another year, but then you're talking about a guy that was taken in the top 5 2 years ago that you're going to sit for 3 years. I mean, that's really rough. I mean, I understand taking a guy at the bottom of the first round, like Rodgers and like Jordan Love, taken at the bottom of the first round and letting him sit for a couple years because you had an established quarterback, a fantastic Hall of Fame quarterback in front of him. Vikings didn't have that. They didn't have that with JJ McCarthy last year, so they had to bring in
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, and he's now gone. So what do you
Yeah.
do there? So they didn't want to pay him. he got paid a bunch of money from Seattle.
To go to a team that has no weapons.
Right. Right. Yeah, because they didn't have DK Metcalf anymore.
And they released they released Lockett too.
Lockett, right? That's exactly right. So that's going to be a tough situation for him up there, but you know, more power to him.
Yeah,
I honestly thought Aaron Rodgers was going to go to the Raiders. I really did. Like right after the season was done, I'm like Rodgers is going. Or after they announced Pete Carroll was going to be the head coach for the Raiders, I was like Rodgers is going to go to Pete Carroll. He's going to go, and he didn't, and I was absolutely shocked.
well,
I
then there
thought
was
that was
rumors
good.
swirling about him going to the Rams, and then
And then
they
the Rams
retained
re-signed.
Stafford,
Yeah.
and then they got Devontae. That's going to be a scary receiving core in Los Angeles.
Oh, with Adams and Puka Nacua, who do you cover? Who do you
Right.
put your number one corner on? I mean,
Speaking of number, go ahead.
it's ridiculous when you have, and then you have the running back there too, Robinson. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that's nuts. That's
yeah.
absolutely bonkers. I mean, he catches the ball out of the backfield really well too. So you can't put a linebacker on him. You have to. Oh, I'm the only thing that doesn't worry me about the Rams right now is that defense. I'm not entirely sold on the defense yet, but I mean, I guess we'll see, right? But that offense is frightening.
Yeah. What do you think of? You mentioned number one corner. What do you think of Jair? What's going to happen with him?
You know, I'm not entirely sure. If they can figure out how to keep him around, if he can stay healthy, that's great. You know, I mean, uh, and then they got the guy from the Raiders too. I mean, if Jair sticks around, you basically have two guys that are potentially number one corners on each side, and that could be really dangerous for the defense. I mean, that could be fantastic. And Nixon has been playing nickel. He's probably one of the better nickel corners in the league right now.
Right. Yeah, I think if they haven't moved him by now, I think they're trying to patch up whatever went wrong behind closed doors.
I think you're absolutely right.
I think they're gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if they pay him when his contract's up. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep him.
Right. No,
If he comes back at 100%, what team's going to throw at him? So the team isn't going to throw it towards him. They're going to throw it towards Hobbs. Going to sharpen Hobbs up. They're going to have two shutdown corners. And then we got McKinney, and hopefully Javon Bullard has a big season this year. And
I think he will too.
yeah,
I really think Bullard's going to be. He was an amazing pickup. That was fantastic. And McKinney, obviously, I mean, I'm still shocked that he didn't even make the Pro Bowl, did he, McKinney?
I
I
think
don't
he
think he made
did.
the Pro Bowl as a safety.
He had to have.
I don't know if he did.
I know he didn't get like.
He wasn't all pro. He led all safeties in interceptions, didn't he? He didn't make all pro. So yeah, I no, they took the guy from Detroit.
No, yeah, he made the
He
Pro
made the
Bowl.
Pro Bowl, and then oh, who was the other? Oh man,
No, he's the first Packer safety to make the Pro Bowl since Ha Ha Clinton Dix. So
is that right?
he
Okay,
made the Pro Bowl. I can
all
say
right.
he had no what he. There's no way he didn't make the Pro Bowl. He just didn't get All Pro.
No, that's okay.
Because
That's right.
once that was announced, he had like a condescending tweet put out there. You know
That's
that.
right. I remember that. Yeah,
So,
it's like really.
um, yeah. Where do you think they're gonna go in the draft? What direction?
Oh man, the Packers have gone either offensive or defensive line like every time, right? Other than Jordan Love a few years back, but it's always been offensive line or defensive line, and I don't think this year is going to be any different. I think it's going to be another defensive lineman, um, but I think they're going to move up in the second round, and I think they're going to get their wide receiver in the second round, high second round. I mean, that's where they've been making their money, right? In the second round, trade up in the second round. They've gotten guys like Devontae Adams in the second round. They got uh, um, I mean, how many guys have they gotten in the second round that have been wide receivers?
They've
A
gotten a lot.
lot,
I mean,
a
that's the
lot.
thing that, and I know you mentioned the Packers should have like one true wide receiver and number one receiver, but I don't necessarily. I mean, I think that they're good where they're at because it's just spread the ball evenly. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's a
the
lot of
last,
young guys, and it's a
it's a
lot
lot
of
of lot of young guys that have a high ceiling that haven't even made a mark yet. Besides maybe Jaden Reed a little bit, but and Romeo Dobbs too. He's you know, I mean,
exactly.
I just think, I mean, I did see a mock draft where they had him taking that Igbukba or whatever his name is from Ohio State at receiver,
Oh, sure,
which
yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. But with the
I wouldn't
addition
mind
of
that either.
Mecole Hardman, I think the receiving core is good. Maybe if anything, get someone later on that's a speedy receiver that can
Right.
dink and dunk
Well,
down
I
the
think
field.
the Hardman signing was more to free up Keyshawn Nixon,
Yep.
have him not worry so much about special teams and worry about being that nickel corner. Um, I think that was the only reason why they signed him was was for kicking punt returns.
And then freeing up Jaden Reed too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, I've kind of been harsh on Keyshawn Nixon a little bit by
I
saying,
think a
"Hey,
lot of people have.
well, we gave him that big contract for his return skills, and once we
Right,
signed him, they changed the return. They changed everything. So then
right.
you're trying to pay him to be like a an above average corner, slot corner, and he kept on getting burned, and he's always like a few
Well,
frames
he had to
too late.
step into that outside. I mean, he had to be the number 2 outside guy,
Yeah,
and he's not that number 2 outside guy. He's the corner. He's the slot guy.
yeah,
So it was kind of a tough situation with him, but I think you're gonna see him improve. I really think that.
yeah. I hope so. I mean, come on, he's Snoop Dogg's nephew.
Right?
um, Bucks. What are your thoughts on the Milwaukee Bucks?
They need to stay ahead of the Pacers. Um, or not ahead of the Pacers, ahead of the Pistons. They're fifth right now. They're a half game up on the Pistons. They do have 2 games against the Pistons, the last 2 games of the year. So that I'm hoping that can be the separation. Um, if they can play Indiana in that first round, they have a really good shot at advancing to the second round, and then they'd end up playing Cleveland. Cleveland's been playing absolutely amazing. I can't believe how well they've been doing this year. I know a bunch of my friends back in Western Pennsylvania that are still they're they're Cavs fans, and it's they're having a good old time back there. But no, I don't know if we drop to the 6 behind Detroit, and we have to play the Knicks first round. I'm not entirely sure things go our way, and another first round exit for the Bucks, and I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Yeah, the one player that I'm so I mean, harsh on is Brooke Lopez. I mean, he's like 12 foot tall. You get these like 6 foot 5 guys coming in the lane doing floaters over him. And by the time the ball is already like almost in the rim, he puts his hand up to defend it. It's like he just his reaction time in my eyes is not there where it should be.
It's interesting because I saw a stat not all that long ago. I think it was last week that Brooke Lopez for the centers for the guys in that center position has one of the best field goal percentages against. So that means players are making fewer shots on him in the lane than any other center in the league. I don't know. It's a tough stat to actually accurately gauge, but you know, he's 37, so he's the old guy on the team. But I think he's still got a little bit left in the tank. So
That
hopefully he'll step it up in the playoffs.
that and when they have like an 8 point lead with like 3 minutes to go in the game, and the ball's come up past half court, he gets the ball like right at the 3 point line, and his chucks went up with like 18 to go on the shot clock. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Giannis does that sometimes too. Although he's starting to curtail that a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, he only shot 1 3 last night, and he
Yeah,
made
I
it.
mean he's cut way back on shooting threes. He's more he wants to pound the ball down low and get buckets and make it to the free throw line.
Giannis's last 2 games have been
Historic.
absolutely amazing. Absolutely fantastic.
Was
So
like 71 points, like almost 40 rebounds, like 30
almost
assists. It's just
30
crazy.
assists, something like that. Yeah, I mean, he's been on an absolute tear. And somebody had posted on X today, maybe it was last night, that Giannis should be third team all NBA. And I'm like, really? What four guy are you gonna put above Giannis right now? Like nobody. He's
Right.
like, well, these guys are better than Giannis. And he had like KD. And I'm like, how do you have KD above Giannis right now? When you go down the list, Giannis has KD beaten points, rebounds, and assists. Like
Yeah.
you can't sit here and tell me that KD's any better than Giannis, and KD's played fewer games.
Yeah, he's probably a Kevin Durant fan, but you got to look at the stats over your fandom. You got to recognize the
I mean,
game.
granted, I mean we're Bucks fans, right? So I mean we're a little biased, but when you look at guys that, how do you have some of these guys above Giannis right now? I get it. Uh, SGA from Oklahoma City's probably going to end up winning MVP this year, right? So,
Right.
and Jokic is going to finish second, and you have Giannis. I have Giannis third,
Yeah.
but I mean, if he's third in MVP voting, you can't have him on third team All NBA. You got to have him on first team All NBA. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah, I know for sure. Um,
SGA's having the best season I've seen out of a guard in a long time.
I don't know if that, I thought about posting it today during the UConn against South Carolina game, but for a while there, South Carolina was doing their best SGA free throw merchant impersonation, trying to get to the line to get
Sure.
points. They're
Right.
running and they're like plowing into like the defender and
Mm-hmm.
shooting the ball. It's like I'm just having flashbacks of SGA.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't get to see any of that women's championship game today.
UConn crushed them.
I saw that. I was getting the alerts on my phone, and I'm like, okay, all right, that's fine. I was outside. I was grilling, so that's what I was doing, making some smoked pork tenderloin and smoked mac and cheese. So,
Yeah, we're having Costco pizza tonight.
oh well, there you go. That's
Hey,
can't
they
go
have a
wrong.
good pizza
Can't
and
go
it's
wrong with
cheap.
pizza. Right, exactly. I don't have a Costco close to me. The closest Costco is like an hour away, so it's
But
kind of tough.
yeah, well, so like their I mean, I don't know if you've ever had their slices before,
Oh
but they
yeah.
have
Oh
they
yeah.
have like a full what is it 12 piece or 8-piece pizza, like a big pizza, 9.99,
Yeah, right.
huge. So yeah,
That's
with
like a 16-inch pie, right?
yeah,
So yeah,
something
sure.
quick and easy for you can call it in and go pick it up like in 10-15 minutes. It's done.
That's
The
awesome. That's
wife's out, she's
fantastic.
doing shopping, she's gonna stop and get a cheese and a pepperoni pizza and bring it home. And
Oh, there you go. Feed the
what
feed the army.
right, do you think Dame will be back for the playoffs?
Yeah, I think he will. He might miss the first game or two, but I think he'll be fine. If we get him back for game 3, like I said, I mean, if we're talking against the Pacers, um, I think we'll get him back for game 3 at home at the Fiserv, and it might be 1-1. If it's 1-1 with home court advantage and Dame's available for game 3, he'll be back for game 3.
Yeah, speaking of the Pacers, I can't stand them. Like I used to be like a big Halliburton fan because he's from Oshkosh, which is
Right.
right,
Yeah.
in the
Right.
valley here, and
Marquette, right? So yeah.
yeah, and just the way they play against the Bucks and their cockiness and their attitude, I don't like him anymore. You know, I don't care if he's from my house. I'm not gonna like him. Just the way he acts, it's he's just cocky, and it's just prove something, win a championship, do something that can back you up. Giannis has been to the top. He knows what it takes. And you guys are gonna sit there and try to intimidate
Right.
him and bully him around, and no, it ain't gonna happen.
No, I like him. I think he's a really good player. I guess we'll see in the playoffs, right? I mean, you're absolutely right. You got to prove it in the playoffs. If you can't prove it in the playoffs, you know,
What was it last year?
oh
What
well.
who were they against last year when Giannis went out? Wasn't it the Pacers? Didn't he have that calf problem last year?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was
So
the
that's
Pacers.
yeah. But what do you think of Doc Rivers as the head coach?
I've never been a fan of Doc Rivers. I mean, when he was coaching the Celtics, that was maybe one of the best teams ever assembled. That Celtics team in what was that? 08? Oh, yeah, 07, 08. And that's just I don't know. What do you have? Kevin Garnett, Paul
Pierce,
Pierce.
Ray Allen.
That was one of the better teams, at least in the last 20 years for sure. I mean that's a tough team to beat. So I think the Celtics won despite Doc Rivers. I've never been a big fan. So I mean he's won a lot of games, don't get me wrong, but every time in the playoffs he kind of crumbles, and it's like there's decisions that he makes that I'm just kind of shaking my head like, really? We're going that route? We're doing this? So
Yeah, I always find it funny. You say the best team maybe ever assembled, and I'm always in the back of my head I'm thinking like I'm surprised LeBron James wasn't on that team just because he wanted to chase a ring. Just I always post like the LeBron or MJ thing. I always sit back with a bag of popcorn and read in the comment section, because you get the Jordan fans and the LeBron fans just going at it.
look, LeBron's done it for a long time, but the one thing I'll say, I mean, I grew up just outside of Chicago. I saw MJ play. You know,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many Bulls games I actually went to watch Jordan play in the 90s, and I mean, he was dominant. And I remember the 92-93 season when they ended up playing the Suns in the finals, and the writers gave Barkley the MVP, and you sit there and you're like, okay, this is Barkley's stats, this is Jordan's stats. How did Barkley win the MVP like of the regular season? There's no way. They had Jordan fatigue, and I think a lot of people in the '90s they remember the Jordan fatigue, and I think we're seeing that now with Giannis. I think a lot of people are kind of down on Giannis, and I don't understand why, but he won. I mean, he won what, two in a row? He won three total MVPs.
Yep.
I think people are kind of down on Giannis because of that reason. I don't think for any other, but it's the same thing with LeBron. You have a lot of the old heads like me. I'm 45, so I'm used to watching MJ, like, and you see LeBron, and it's like, really, like, I don't know if LeBron would have done some of these things in the 90s. He's a big guy, and he's built really well. But you really think he'd go into the lane on Bill Laimbeer without getting absolutely mugged?
Have you seen that Pat McAfee interview with LeBron?
I missed it. No.
And like they actually brought up that exact scenario,
Oh, did they
and,
really?
and he's like, oh, he's like, of course I'd survive. He's like, Giannis would have like, he said Giannis would score. He said either 150 or 250 points in a game back in like the 90s. This is like being sarcastic, but I don't know. I've always been a Jordan fan, and
Right.
I've always didn't like. I've never liked LeBron, and then I always got the like idea that he just went around trying to win rings. He didn't want to put in the hard work. I mean, yeah, he carried that team in Cleveland that one year, but I mean, you go with like Bosh and D Wade and around their prime, you get Kevin Love, I mean, people are like, well, Jordan did that with Rodman and Kukoc. I mean, Pippen, they drafted
Who
Pippen.
coach was drafted? Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying they bring up all
Rodman
these
was a
players that
trade.
it's like Jordan was on the same team, and not like he was going from like the Bulls to like the Lakers to the Rockets. He stayed in one team.
Right. And you started to see that in later in Jordan's career where all the superstars were trying to chase a ring. You remember Charles Barkley went to Houston to team up with Olajuwon and Drexler,
Yeah.
and it didn't work out so well for them. And you started to see a little bit of that later on. But I mean, Patrick Ewing went to play with Orlando, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that was like right around Shaq, and it was Shaq and Ewing, I think, or that was Ewing went right after Shaq left to go to LA. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm not a fan of the team jumping trying to build a super team. That's one of the reasons why I don't like Durant. I used to love Durant when he played for Oklahoma City. Loved him. And then he left, and it's like, really? Like, you're doing this? If he would have stayed in Oklahoma City, you would have had him, Harden, Westbrook. Oh my gosh.
How would that team not win a ring? How have they not? I mean, I don't get it, you know?
Who did Oklahoma City play? They played the Miami Heat.
But I mean,
That's why. They
yeah.
played the Miami Heat, and that's why they didn't win a championship. And that's why they didn't win. And that's all I can really say about it. You run into the Heat. I don't know. I thought
That
in
was
first
that
year's
was
LeBron. I thought in first year in Miami, I thought Spoelstra was going to get fired.
yeah.
Like they didn't play well at all. They didn't do really well, and then they got to the playoffs and they just tore through everybody.
Yeah, that was James Harden before he became the foul baiting James
Yeah.
Harden that he is
Right.
now. I
Yep.
can't stand that crap. Drives me nuts. You know? Like so
Yeah.
I coached well this last year I coached fifth grade basketball here, and it's like, you get these guys that are bigger than your kids, right? By like a head length.
Right.
Obviously they're gonna probably be a little dominant, a little physical.
Right.
I go, hey boys, you wanna know how I get these guys out of the game? Pump fake. They jump up in the
Hit
air.
them up.
You jump into them. Never
Right.
did it happen. Never happened.
Yep.
It's like you got to play mind games. But yeah, it's I don't know. I just think the NBA nowadays is just
It's a tough product to watch.
it is. And then I used to like watching like college basketball and college football, but even that with NIL, it's just
It's a tough product to
and
watch
they
now,
cut
too.
back
Yep.
and they cut back on the transfer portal, and they cut back on the wait your year of eligibility when you transfer, and people can jump ship and play the next day. It's just I don't like it. There's no commitment. There's no loyalty. There's no. I mean,
You get a guy like AJ Storr who went to Kansas this year from Wisconsin, who transferred to Wisconsin. He's on his third team in 3 years.
he's on his eighth team in 8 years, including high school.
Right, something
Look
like
at
that.
my post. Look at my post from today that I put on Twitter. I have that on there. All the schools from high school every year was different. He's had 4 different college teams.
Jeez,
Crazy.
that's nuts. I mean, the one thing I'll say about the transfer portal is it gives the opportunity for these kids to not sit out a year where coaches, I mean, remember when coaches, they recruit an entire roster of kids and then leave.
Yeah.
And they were able to coach the following year. So why were the kids that they recruited not able to do the same thing? And I think that gives them a little bit more, more leverage in that aspect, but I don't think it should be, trying to chase the money. I think they dipped too far into the NIL too quick. They didn't really have a solid plan of attack, and I think that's kind of starting to ruin the game a little bit. You're going to see the same, 4 or 5 teams in college basketball and college football. You're going to see them make the playoffs. You're going to see them make the Final Four every single time. You're not going to see a Cincinnati make the 4-team playoff, and I know it's going. It's 12 now. You're not going to see a Cincinnati get past the first round if it is a 12-team playoff. You're not going to see some of these smaller schools. And it's unfortunate because you're not going to see in March Madness. You're not going to see a St. Peter's
Right.
knock off Kentucky. You're not going to see that anymore. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it was funny. Like Iowa, their whole team transferred except for I think for one player, might be 2 players, because the coach Fran McCaffrey, which I couldn't stand. I could not stand that guy from the
Me neither.
So he left, and then the Drake coach came, And I think 5 players from Drake followed the coach to Iowa, and they
Right.
all committed to Iowa. It sucks to see like Wisconsin, um, they Daniel Freitag from
Yep.
Minnesota,
Yep.
he transferred in hopes that Wisconsin would reach back out to him in the portal.
Right.
Nothing. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I was really high on him coming into the program too, and
I think a lot of people were.
then you saw these two commits from what one was 6'10", one was 6'7", 6'6", 6'8".
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So I mean, Greg Gard has been able to do something with quote unquote lesser talent than you know what I'm saying. So everyone always is so quick to jump down Greg Gard's throat, for he's not a good coach. I think he's a great coach. You know,
He's look. I actually know Greg. So I really can't say anything bad about the guy. I love the guy.
yeah. Oh,
So
absolutely.
he's a great guy. I think he's a great coach. I mean, he coached with Bo Ryan down here at Platteville.
Yeah, and his brother?
It is
No,
his brother. Yeah, absolutely.
he's
Yeah.
the coach at Platteville now, isn't he?
He is,
Yeah.
and he has been for some time, and he's really
Yep.
successful. They won a national championship, I think, a year or two ago. So, and they always make the playoffs, and they always do a really good job there. I mean, they're probably one of the most dominant teams in the WEAC,
Yeah.
by far. I mean, I've gone to games. Games are cheap, you know. Take the kids. The kids love it, and we have a good time watching them play down there in Platteville. They're just electric. They're fun to
Yeah.
watch.
Well, Wisconsin was. Sorry, my wife is texting me. Go figure. Costco has no eggs. Okay. Um.
Oh no!
Uh Greg Gard. They're expected to finish 12th in the Big Ten,
Right,
and they made
exactly.
it to the Sweet 16 or
Well,
whatever.
they made
The
it. They made it
32.
through the first round, so
Yeah, first round.
they
But I
lost
mean,
to BYU.
they lost to a really good BYU team.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
I think they're getting the number one commit next year. BYU is in the nation.
Right, they
So
are.
I mean, Greg Gard with what he's given does amazing, and I think he's a great coach. He gets the guys in the right spot to be successful. You
Yeah.
know,
No,
um,
you're absolutely right. I'm a big fan of him. I he doesn't really put the team in situations that are bad. I mean, their losses this year, when you watch that loss in the Big Ten championship to Michigan, they were cold. They came out cold, and that was their fourth game in 4 days. They just, especially after
yeah,
the night before. I mean, having that game against Michigan State that came down to the wire, and the game before that against UCLA where they fired in like 22 3-pointers, which is a Big Ten record.
yeah,
It's they were bound to be cold for one game, and unfortunately it happened to be in the Big Ten championship when it mattered the most. And the same thing happened against BYU. I mean, BYU jumped on them so quick. It
yeah,
was really tough. It was really tough, and the fact that they came back to even be within a shot at the end is a testament to how Greg Gard coached those guys up,
yeah,
and obviously having um, you know having those guys play as well as they did down the stretch. I mean, hats off to Greg Gard and the rest of the team. I mean, they played their hearts out all the
yeah.
way.
That group of seniors is hard watching them have their last game because of what they gave to the program this year. It was
Oh
super
yeah,
hard, but
absolutely.
yeah. So your contest is April 26th. You said coming up.
That is right. April 26th, Harris Park Live Pavilion up in Dodgeville, Wisconsin. Just 40 minutes west of Madison. Starts at 11 o'clock. It's $5 to get in. You can go onto the website and check out Grilled Cheese Wisconsin and buy VIP tickets. So if you want to taste grilled cheese sandwiches that the competitors make, you can buy a VIP pass, and you get a drink ticket, you get a soup ticket, you get a bunch of grilled cheese tickets so you can try competitor sandwiches, and you get a whole bag of swag that's got like coupons and t-shirts and pens and all sorts of fun stuff. And it's a great time. I think the VIP passes are like $20, $25. So it's a great deal.
Is there cheese that comes in the bag?
There's no cheese that comes in the bag, but I will say this. I know there are cheese vendors that are there, and they are giving out free samples. I
That's
do know
crazy.
that.
Sounds like a good time.
It's one of the best. It's
Yeah,
weekend I look forward to every year.
you should put like cooking videos on Twitter or have some social media platform where you.
Yeah, so yeah, I've been trying to post I've been posting some pictures and things like that of some of my creations. I just yeah, I got to find a really good spot to do it. Lighting kind of stinks in my kitchen, so I can't really take great pictures. Um I'm working on building a so I'm going to working on building a big butcher block for my grill, and then I'll have like a little 17-inch Blackstone, and I'll kind of set up a camera and stuff in my garage, a little bit better lighting in there, and kind of like the lighting that's in here, little LED kind of bright.
Sure.
um so yeah, I'll probably do some live videos and some throw some stuff up on X and on YouTube. And yeah, I got to start getting that going. It's just I got 6 kids, man, and they're all over the place. My oldest is 17, my youngest is 8, and I just I'm running. I'm constantly moving, man.
My oldest is 15. I have a 13, shit, 12, 11. No, wait. Yeah, 12, 11, and 8 year
Sure.
old.
Yeah.
So it,
17, 15, 13, 12, 10, 8. So yeah, I mean, I know exactly what it's like, man.
yeah,
It's but it's bonkers because I mean, the golf and baseball and gymnastics and track and cross country and you name it. I mean, it's a lot of work.
it is. We got basketball, lacrosse, soccer, football.
Sure.
So it's crazy, and
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
it's definitely crazy. But hey,
Fun time.
tell can you tell the people watching where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, so you can find me at Maytag underscore Zach on X. You can find me at Zach's underscore foodie underscore call on Instagram. You can check out, I post pictures of all sorts of wild grilled cheese and even creations that I pull off my smoker up there on Instagram. So, and then of course you can find me Zach Washa and on all other different platforms. So
For sure. Um, Before I get going, I want to give a thanks to the Ohana Packers Network for giving me the platform to podcast under their brand Open Network. Iowa Joe, Mike Kawano, Carlos Silva, Aaron Davis, and some more people that I didn't mention. You can find them at ohanapackers.org or ohana underscore Packers on X. Um, yeah, you can find me at Cheese Talk Podcast or Cheese Talk Podcast is my YouTube. Cheese Talk underscore Pod is my X. And my other personals, I'm not going to give you my thing. You guys can probably find me if you guys do some investigating. But yeah, Zach, I really appreciate you being on. Hope we can hook up in the future for another episode. And
absolutely, I'd love to talk again, and hopefully next time I'll add
some more trophies. Hey, good
more
luck.
trophies
And
to that. I mean,
I might
like I
have to
said, that's just last year. I could bring down all of my trophy. I got like 20 or so trophies. It's just that just reminds me of each year.
That's crazy. Like the just to go and like do the contest and actually win, just going in there thinking,
Right.
hey, maybe I'll just do this for fun and just to meet new people and see new things, and you're bringing home hardware every time you go.
It's fun. It's a blast. I love to do it.
Awesome. Well, look, how about well, I'll get a hold of you outside the episode, but
Yeah,
we'll plan to meet up again, and
we'll
hopefully
do it
we got
again.
some good news to talk about the Bucks. Maybe we can talk Packers draft. We can talk how you did in your contest, and
Yeah, we can do that.
we'll
That
go
sounds
from
like a
there. But
blast.
I really
Thanks, man.
appreciate it, and you have a good rest of your night.
Hey, thanks. Cheese
Yep.
life.
Hey, cheese life, absolutely. So yeah, I got some cheese life swag too.
Yeah, I hooked up with them last year, and they're like, "Yeah, we want you to wear a shirt." So I wore this shirt for the grilled cheese championships last year. I plan on wearing it again. So
Yeah,
they're great people over there.
he's a big supporter. He's actually in De Pere up here.
Yeah, right. I know.
I think I have a green hoodie, I have a black T-shirt, I have a cheese life sticker on my car. Yeah,
Nice.
it's
I got
crazy.
I got cheese life stuff on my above my workbench. So yeah, I mean, obviously They're good people over there. I love them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, again, thanks a lot, Zach, and take care.
I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.